You know, I've been thinking, what if the apocalypse hit or a natural disaster occurred? How would I get food? It's always an issue in survival movies or whatever, but what if we just ate these guys? You could be my dinner, you know? Come on, bro. Slingshots seem like the perfect survival gadget. It doesn't need crafted ammunition like a gun or bow does, and it's tiny enough to fit in your pocket. In a survival situation, it can kill small animals like pigeons, rabbits, and squirrels, enough food to keep you alive. Theoretically, I'm not saying you should go out and shoot some birds. I don't want the cops after me again. And that's the problem. Turns out you can't buy one too easily in California where I live because it's a dangerous weapon. However, how can you be a true American without being armed? Theoretically. Right? It's rather simple to make a piece of wood into a Y shape, creating your own DIY slingshot. And with access to a laser cutter, this can be done safely by anyone with minimal effort and some style. So let's make some cool slingshots, just in case a disaster happens. A slingshot is a very simple object, a piece of material cut into a Y shape with some bands bought online. If you had strong enough fingers, you could be a slingshot. Wood is the best material for this since it's strong, pretty, and cheap. While you can hand cut a slingshot with any number of methods, laser cutters are great for this because they are fast and precise. They can cut a pre-made design with a laser into wood in just 2 minutes. Let's first get a design. I chose this random one online from Googling it, and even without a laser engraver, you can use this design by printing it out or even sketching it. Next is the wood. I have some 1/2 inch plywood that I'll be using for this slingshot. Plywood is usually the cheapest and most common piece of wood you could use for laser engraving, but you can also use any other 1/2 inch wood, and I'll showcase that later. On this occasion, I'm using Longer's Ray5 20-watt laser engraver to create this project. It's a great budget-saving machine, being cheaper than most 20-watt lasers because it relies heavily on assembly. For just around $500, you can own a 22-watt laser that can be used for thousands of household projects, slingshots just being one of them. The only issue I ran into was that I had to install a driver, which is usually uncommon with these machines. Once you set it up and skim the manual, you're good to go. Cutting is so simple. You just need to get your design and upload it to the program LaserGBRL. You can input cutting settings, I'll go with max power, and then you can move your engraver near the corner of the wood to cut. 1/2 inch plywood is pretty thick and near the maximum thickness 22-watt lasers can cut, so you'll just have to run the laser through several passes. Unfortunately, from my experience making slingshots, 1/2 inch wood is actually too thin to sustain the stresses put on by slingshot shooting. Luckily, you can just cut 2 designs and glue them together. This makes cutting wood much more beginner friendly because there's no heavy machinery or blades involved. Even kids can do this. After sanding and cleanup, you can go further and engrave designs onto your slingshot. After all, it is called an engraver. My design is just an online image, and I align it with the original slingshot design. But in real life, it's difficult to realign an object onto a laser engraver after taking it out. So you can just engrave the slingshot outline onto a scrap piece of cardboard, and then line up your piece on that. Since making a single slingshot is not worth the whole YouTube video, let's make another. For the next slingshot, I'll use a natural wood instead, and this time it's purple. This is heartwood, a wood species from South America that looks like it's from another dimension. Using natural wood is more visually pleasing to look at because it doesn't have these layers that plywood has. However, while the 22-watt laser is very versatile and can cut tons of different wood types, it simply can't cut heartwood due to its high thickness compared to most woods. Trust me, I tried. Instead, I cheated. I used the laser engraver to trace the design and used a saw for the final cut. This design is named Harpy, and I wanted a more alien-like design to fit the wood type. Even after being cut with the saw, I brought it to a local wood shop in my college to sand it down and make it really rounded. While this video is titled How to Make Slingshots with Laser Engravers, the truth is that woodworking is done best with a collection of tools and techniques, rather than just a single machine. Laser engravers aren't a one-size-fits-all tool, but they are able to get you pretty far with its various abilities. It keeps me under the belief that every garage should have one. The last step is to attach the bands. I'm no slingshot enthusiast or professional, so I can't really tell you how to do this, but I just wrapped the bands on with some leftover bicycle tire rubber that I cut out and tied the ends. The actual last step is to test them. I went out to the woods and tested out both slingshots on a goose. Don't worry, it was already dead. Turns out, I was terrible at shooting. With a huge target, I missed 9 out of 10 times, and even when I did get a hit, it was never near the head, which would guarantee a kill. Well, I expected this. I can never match slingshot enthusiasts who have shot all their lives, especially with only 20 minutes of practice. And to add on to that, I was shooting ugly shaped rocks, which probably didn't help. Defeated by the goose, I had to pack up and go. I guess to survive an apocalypse or natural disaster, I'll need a bit more practice. Making your own slingshots is perhaps the easiest and most useful craft you can make. Even if you aren't interested in hunting, it's still tons of fun and a great hobby to get into. After setting up some stuffed animals or cans, you can spend a nice evening practicing your aim. With a laser engraver like the longer Ray5, making slingshots becomes a little easier, beginner-friendly, and more stylish. Links to the laser engraver and the templates that I used are in the description below. As always, thank you for watching, and be sure to make some more fun.